Hello and welcome to this video. Today I have two more Miniverse Make It Mini food series. So let's see what we get in the first one. And I have to say, these are the Dino series, so they have these cute dinosaurs on the packaging, which I think are absolutely adorable and a great idea. And the wrappers did give me a bit of a hard time, so I'm going to skip forward here. But yeah, it looks like in the first one, as always, we got all these pamphlets, like warnings, instructions, and a ton of baggies. Let's see what this Series 3 actually has in stock. Starting off with cupcakes, which we already gotten, up to salad. These veggie skewers look really good, and we have some sushi, which also looks super fun. We have some cake roll. The mint cake looks a bit weird in my opinion. I think it's just because it has like this toothpastey color, but I do love the checkerboard effect on the inside. There's some fun pasta dish and the dinosaur tacos, which I'm a huge fan of, and I also really like the burgers. So yeah, a lot of good things in here. Let's see what we get. First of all, the accessories. We got a cake spatula, which makes me think we're actually going to get the cake that I mentioned earlier. I found weird. It's fine, we can make something out of it if we do. But yeah, this little clear thing clips into the top piece of the sphere, and you can essentially make like a cloche in the display. You get a table that you can snap in place in the base, just like some of the other Miniverses. And then you can put the semi-clear cloche on top and have a little display stand. And the next packaging gives us chocolate chips. Yeah, it really looks like we are getting the cake. And these look adorable, and I love the tiny like shaker things, dispenser things. They look so nice, and that's like one thing that Miniverse always does so well. Their packaging is essentially also a product that you can use for doll kitchens or just like any kind of miniature decorations. Same with this. This looks so good. So this is whipped cream, but it's like finished whipped cream dollar pieces, and these come in a can that looks like a whipped cream like quick whip spray can, and they look absolutely adorable, and I love that you can take off the cap like this. This is so great. Next up we have this baggie, and this is our resin, our minty fresh resin. I do love the color combination of the like minty bluish color and the pink. That's very cute. But we're still missing the cake, and it looks like it will be in here, at least it feels like it. And yes, it is! We even get like a little plastic cake casing, like you would get when you purchase a cake in the supermarket and stuff, just so they don't shift around. And we even have a slice cutout. There's not really that much texture, but like the color and stuff is actually really nice. And again, I love the pattern, although it's a bit wonky on some edges, but I think it looks really cool. Also really love all the packaging that we get, but I wish that the like tablecloth table placemat thing would have been colorful. Like I could have put a design like maybe the happy sun or something, instead they put a boring thing. I'm really in love with this glass cake platter thing though. Okay, let's make something with the cake. So I'm using some Cerner translucent clay here. I've used it before in my videos, and I'm going to still experiment with it a bit later, but in this one I wanted to just mix it in, because a lot of people have said that to upgrade the look of your clay pieces, especially when you make foods, a lot of foods are more translucent, and especially like cakes and breads and stuff that are maybe a bit moist or oily or something, they tend to be a bit more translucent, like any kind of dough thing tends to be. So I mixed up some colors here that looks like cake, and then also realized my mat is really not made for this. I actually shaved off a little bit of the green and had to peel it out of the clay while I tried to get it off my mat. I don't use a cutting mat, put something on top of it. Like, you know, a piece of parchment paper. But you live and you learn. It's fine. I managed to clean my mat off. Just has a little bit of scraping damage, but it's a working mat, so I don't mind. But yeah, I want to upgrade the cake just a teeny bit, in adding some texture. And at this point I was like, oh, I'm just gonna put like a strip of this clay around, and then I'm gonna like maybe decorate the cake piece to cut out a little bit with a little bit more clay so I can texture that. This was not that easy. I mean, the cake base was. I didn't quite match the color, but I knew that it would be a bit more translucent once I bake it, so I wasn't too worried about it. I just tried to like line up the colors as best as I could. And then I like tried to put the cake into like a little encasing, I mean the cake slice, into a little encasing of this rest clay. I essentially rolled it out really thinly and then made like squares. Usually when you make this kind of cake you would make logs and put them on top of each other or pour them, but in this case, you know, we already had the cake base. So I just wanted to use that since it already had the right shape, and I knew that I would put it onto the side so you wouldn't really notice that it's too large. But yeah, I blended in the edges, put in clay on all the sides, and then I realized I didn't like it. I like tried to shape it even more, blend the edges in, try to fix the pattern. The problem really was the pattern. It was like so off, and then when I tried texturing it, it like moved even more. It was super frustrating, and I hated it, so I scraped it off with my cutter tool here. And in the end, I was like, oh, maybe I can make a cake slice myself. So yeah, that is what I tried to do. And I layered like some little blocks of the pre-made clay that I had, and I shaped the cake piece, and I didn't like that either. At all. I didn't know what it was, but like something really bothered me. I think it was the shape in combination with the pattern. So I was like, okay, let's go back to my first try. You can see I tried a lot to make this work, and I spent like a decent bit of time on it, but then I decided, okay, let's start the texturing on the cake first. So I wanted to look a bit more crummy, and in that I'm just using my plastic brush tool here. This is essentially a brush from a set of wire brushes, just this one's plastic, and I'm just dabbing it on. You can also use a toothbrush, works the same to texture. And then I cut up the slice of cake, cut off thin pieces, and just put them onto the pre-made slice of cake, and this is what it looks like. And after baking, I baked it really long and really slowly at a lower temperature. This material, even though it feels strawberry, is not made for baking at all. I was kind of, you know, going like trial by fire here, and then knew that, but this is fine. Like, the cake itself didn't melt as much, the cake piece completely melted and shrunk on the inside, but luckily the texture and my piece that I added stayed. So let's try and fix this and make this more invisible. I'm just cutting off the base here to make it a little bit more flat sitting. And yes, it kind of looks like it still fits in the cake, but again, I want to serve it on the side. But let's just say somebody got a bit greedy and cut into the cake while it was still slightly warm and the cake just collapsed a little. You know, cake tends to do that. But yeah, let's decorate the cake a little bit more. Hopefully that will make it better. You can see that the color doesn't 120% match, but it is fine since the outside is supposed to be a bit darker anyways. But I think the slight translucency it has definitely makes it look buttery and like actually more food-like. Then I'm using my really thin silicone tool here, and I mix up the resin super well because you guys know my track record with resin, and this is an older kit, so I mix it super well. I usually try to do that, but it doesn't always work. In this case it actually did. And I also added like some slight drops on the sides. This is a very viscous resin, so I had to go with like the fine tip of my tool here. But once I got the hang of it, it worked super well, and I think it looks pretty cute. I also added some of the random chocolate dollop thingies on top, like more towards the middle. And I'm not trying to make a perfect decoration here. I want this to look like a little bit more I don't know, like random and a little more free-handed. And then for the cake slice, I'm also adding the little frosting and a couple chocolate pieces, and then it's on to curing. And I tried to find something in my scrap that I could use as like a plate, but I didn't find anything, so I made like a simple 3D print. I really tried to find like a lid or something that I can cut up, but all of the ones that I have in my scrap pile are way too small. But yeah, I mixed up some like just essentially clear varnish, like acrylic varnish, with white paint, and then added that as whipped cream with another dollop of the whipped cream that they provided. And that's how I decorate the cake slice. And with that done, let's get into the second one. And I think we may get the salad. I mean, this looks like it could be the salad. Like, it has salad leaves on there and it stays fresh. So maybe we actually get the salad, but let's see. We actually have a lot of baggies and a lot of accessories, so let's start with those. We have a fork and a piece of tongs, like always, that you can use for decorating. And then the first thing we are getting is dressing. And yes, I was right, we're getting Caesar salad dressing. I love the little sun on top there, it's super cute. I love the design of the bottle. Also the shape, props to Miniverse for that. They really make it look realistic in this small scale. But yeah, we got the salad, and of course we also need salad leaves. This Farm Fresh Sun Farm salad. It says fresh stuff in the back, and it has the little non-nutritionist facts. And the details are just absolutely adorable, and the salad is a bit like soft, it feels like the rubbery type. And we also get croutons. You cannot really see into the baggie, which is a shame. But the packaging again is super cute. And then we get some cheese, grated cheese. I love the packaging with the checkerboard. This is adorable, and it's a little dispenser thing, like a little shaker dispenser, which I also really like because it makes things so much easier. And we have a bowl. So let's make the salad. First of all, the salad leaves look a little bit bland and simple, so it's time to paint them to make the textures pop. Because Miniverse actually added a lot of texture to these, and it's a shame that you can hardly see it. So I'm using just some darker green paint, and I mix it with a little bit of water, applying it to the leaves, letting it sit for a tiny bit to run into all the nooks and crannies. And then I'm wiping it off actually with my fingers. I found that wiping it off with my fingers is the easiest. And it stains the material a little bit. And it highlights like all the details a little more. It's essentially the same thing I did way before with like the corn and stuff. And it works just so well. Same for the croutons. I'm actually applying a sandy color here with a dry brush. And then like a darker brown. I really thought I was on camera here, but apparently I wasn't. But I'm just using a dry brush and like shading them as if they have been like, you know, roasted. Because, you know, breadcrumbs essentially are just fried or like dried bread, like toasted bread, really toasted bread. And then it's time to put everything into the bowl. So I'm using my Uhu glue here. This is just an all-purpose glue that dries clear. And I'm placing all the leaves inside just to make them look a little bit random. Starting with like some simple layers and then just placing single leaves, just to enhance it a little. And then I'm mixing more of my clear acrylic varnish with a little bit of this sandy color. And this is going to be my dressing. I didn't want to use resin because I didn't feel like it needs it. So this dressing like replacement should work really well. And this is literally, again, just varnish and a little bit of paint, and it will dry actually pretty clear, but also shiny. And then I dip the croutons in a little bit more of this just to have them adhere a little bit better, because this stuff is also acting kind of like as a glue. And I'm placing them deliberately where I feel like they would make the most sense. Just like a couple on top, a couple on the sides, and then I found some of this dill seasoning or green seasoning from like the pickle jars. And I put that on, and once it was dry, I realized, oops, I forgot the cheese. I wanted to add the cheese after I put on the pickle seasoning, but I guess, you know, so sometimes you forget, but it was easy fix. I just used some more clear varnish and then put the cheese on. And with that, both projects are done. The cake doesn't feel like I've done much. I actually hit the backside a little bit with a little bit more of my whipped cream. And the whipped cream looks a tiny bit flat. I think I should have used like 3D water effect acrylic base, like medium. It's still a little 3D, it just doesn't look like it, but it also looks like it's been melting a little bit more into the cake, so I think that also looks good. And it blends in with the whipped cream piece on top. And I'm really happy that I added the texture. It just looks like so much better in my opinion, even on the outside of the cake. And it looks like a casual cake, like somebody had fun making it in like an afternoon for themselves or for family or something, and it looks super delicious. As for the salad, I'm also in love with it. It is really, really simple, but it looks so tasty and refreshing. I love the browning on the croutons. I really love croutons in general, especially with a salad. So, you know, this like toastiness looks super good, and the grated cheese just adds something. The herbs, you cannot really tell I put them. But yeah, I think both of these products were super simple, but I think they turned out super, super well. And although I again didn't get any of the ones that I really wanted, I'm still super happy because these were by far not the worst that I could have gotten in my opinion. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below which of the ones from the list is your favorites, and also let me know what you think of my projects. And as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!